as like, okay, I want to create digital art, but in a way that is interactive, in a way that is different, that makes people realize also like the potential of what digital art could be and what dynamic art could do. So basically, I had created like six different new artworks for it. I can basically talk through them. Um, Let me share my screen here.
So for the viewers, what do you mean by dynamic?
So that when I talk about dynamic art, is basically art that reacts to a real world variable. So, like for example, this piece over here, it is called the Invisible March of Time. So for all the artworks that I created for the exhibition, I had basically tweaked them to say this is for the way it will be shown during the physical exhibition, and then this is how the NFT version will work. So for this physical version, actually, let me show you this piece first. So the duality of self was the first pieces that could be seen at the exhibition itself, where you walk inside. And so these pieces are actually based on the idea of how all of us and our personalities and characteristics, we have an introvert and extrovert side of us. And so for this exhibition, within the gallery space, I had actually had a footfall sensor set up right at the door. And the way it had worked was that when more and more people entered the space, the two pieces which shows one showing the introvert, one showing the extrovert actually starts to come out more and the introvert starts to hide away. And vice versa, when there's lesser people at the exhibition itself, then the extrovert hides away and the introvert comes out. So it was basically like as though it is the personification of the exhibition itself, of the gallery space, where people come in, the artworks react, and people leave, the artwork reacts. And so like this is how I wanted to make it feel like people were playing a part on how the artwork is being shown. And so this is the exhibition version. And for the NFT version, it's actually based on the traffic of the Ethereum blockchain. So when there is high traffic, then the extrovert version comes out more, and when there is low traffic, then the introvert version comes out more. So it's a bit like a ticker of how Ethereum is doing, but like yeah, I thought it was a really fun way to play on the idea of like dynamic art and how the art can change according to certain values and certain data, but using that value and putting a concept of like personality to it. So this is the first few pieces I did.
This live on the
Then
blockchain?
moving, yes, so this is live on the blockchain. Let me see if I can click on it right now. So this is the introvert piece, and waiting for it to load. Basically, she's viewing right now, which means that the Ethereum blockchain isn't having too much traffic because she's revealed herself. And I guess when the bull market comes back, that's when you can see that the extrovert version will be showing herself. So right now, the extrovert should be hidden away, which you should be able to see. Yeah. So now she's hidden away. So yeah, when she's appearing, you would know that the bull market is back. So that's a cute way to kind of see it all.
Wow. So these are two different pieces. I thought it was the same piece in which the introvert and extrovert changed places coming in and out. But this is amazing. Two separate pieces who just hide their face and come back depending on the. This is
Yeah.
absolutely fabulous and brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so like my exhibition basically had different kind of works like this. So like this next piece here is also two different pieces. It's called the Invisible March of Time. And so for the exhibition, the way it had worked is that it shows these two women slowly aging, and they were aged over the span of 30 minutes. And as an exhibition goer, when you stand in front of the piece, as I tell you this, you will know that she's actually aging, but because she ages over the span of 30 minutes, it is very, very subtle and you don't really see the change. And in fact, if you stand in front of the piece, it gets a little boring because you're like, oh, I don't really see any changes. But after that, after you see this piece, you will go on to the next pieces, walk around the exhibition, and when you come back, time would have passed, and that's when you have noticed that, oh, shit, time has gone on, and I had missed out because she has gotten older and she has aged. And that was really the idea I wanted to put across, that like no matter what's happening that in our lives, there's never a time that time stops, right? Time is always moving. And sometimes when you see your parents every single day, they look exactly the same. But like if you don't see them over the span of like 1 year, 2 years, you start to see like, oh shit, because I've not been around, time has passed and I'm seeing changes. And that was really what I wanted to bring across with this piece, is really that there's a bit of uncomfortable truth of like mortality, right? That time is always passing by. We are all aging. and to really just be present in the present time we are living in.
Fabulous. I think this is digital art, NFT art at its best. And I love to go to exhibitions in whichever new city I'm going. But the work you have done into this using the technology, that is a very immersive experience. That is that makes you in get you involved in it. You're not just passively looking at paintings and walking around and just going away, but you're curious to go around and see what has changed, what has happened. So it keeps you involved. Attention is people are very active in seeing the pieces, seeing the story behind it, and on top of it you have got some amazing stories that combine all these pearls together in a necklace. So really kudos, hats up to you.
Yeah, thank you. For me, I guess is yeah, I really felt like, this is such a interesting technology, and to be able to do something that perhaps people did not know was possible and being able to show it to them was something that was definitely a goal of mine. Because even like, so for this piece, I had also the NFT version, right? And for the NFT version, I would tell people that for the piece that is minted on the blockchain, the way it was done is that it's actually directly tied to me, the artist, in that sense that like it is tied to my age and it actually ages along with me. So right now, the
Oh,
version you see, I am 32 this year and she's 32, and every year on my birthday is when she actually ages to the next stage. And so she's programmed to age once every year, all the way to she's 100 years old, meaning when I'm 100, right? And the idea of it is also that if perhaps I don't get to 100, the piece literally lives on without me. And so like it's really to put across the idea of like the kind of like a legacy of like, look at this artwork going older, and she will always be aging, and at the end of 100 she is programmed to restart again, right? And I had actually spoken to a collector about that, and one of the collector, he's about 2 decades older than me, and he was saying that like it was a bit uncomfortable at thinking about this piece because it made him realize that he will actually never see the end of this artwork, right? Because he would have to be
oh,
120. But yeah, I thought it was such an interesting way to also bring up the conversation about it, right? It is a very uncomfortable thought sometimes. Again, mortality, but I feel like art is such a good way to bring up conversations about it, to make people think about it. Yeah, so
what
like the
happens
way this was
after
just another example.
100? Is she reborn?
Yeah, so she will fade to black, and then again she will start to fade back in again. So like the age that she fades back in is about like 16 years old. So like a younger version of her. She never starts from a baby, but like a younger version of her, and then she gets older and older.
So you literally made 16 to 100, that's 24, no, 84 versions of this art.
Yeah, actually I can show you the age version. Give me a second. Give me a second. Is this the long or short version? Oh yeah, okay.
Did you create a video of this, of how she progresses through age? Okay, yeah, it's a video. Cool.
Yeah, so this video is about 3 minutes long. So the exhibition version was 30 minutes long. This version is a much shorter version to see her age. I will fast forward it a little bit so you can kind of see the slight changes as she gets older and older. Yeah, so like if you stood in front of the piece, it's actually very, very subtle. You don't really see the changes very much. Like, okay, you can see the hair changing from here. It was quite sudden. But yeah, as she gets older and older.
But hair turning white is actually quite sudden, right? It happens in a year or
Yeah, I mean,
two.
like,
It is.
yeah, I mean, like, suddenly people's like, I have white hair, and suddenly, like, oh my god, I have only white hair.
How did you might have studied anatomy very closely for creating this one? How, like, each of the wrinkles and the face and the structure, how did you go about it?
Yeah, yeah, I have a lot of old people faces on my computer. Trying to figure out how wrinkles work. And then yeah, it's a lot of time, but it was fun staring at how people get old and like realizing like how your face kind of sags a little bit, like the fat pads all sag down. You're not held up by like the bounciness of your skin anymore. Yeah.
We have seen the end result, but I'm sure there's so much work and so much ingenious time you have spent behind it. So, can you take us through a process of creating art? How do you conceive the idea? How do you work on it? And how do you see it getting completed and then displayed?